Hey guys, welcome to Quinn's Tree Farm, coming to you live through YouTube, straight from Cornville, Maine. Doing a little bit different things today. We are going to make some apple cider. As you saw before, I got the cider press and grinder all set up on that table, and today I thought we'd get some apples and get the process started. I'm going to use windfalls today. I'll tell you why. Because I'm 41 years old and I have eaten apples off the ground since as long as I can remember, and I seem to have managed okay. And I'm not giving this stuff away to anybody. I'm not selling it. I don't have any licenses to do anything like that. This is purely for my own enjoyment and maybe that of a couple of friends who I'm pretty sure won't sue me if they get sick. At least I hope not. When I pick them, I make sure that we wash them when we get home, and I kind of go over them, and I want to make sure that I'm not using anything that has any signs of rot or worms or anything like that. So that's pretty much my disclaimer on the use of windfall apples. Once the apples are more ripe off the tree, we're obviously going to pull those down. Wicked windy out today, so we should have a pretty good smattering of fresh apples on the ground. We'll go pick those up, and then we'll head back over, grind them up, and let them sit for a couple of days until they're ready to press. I just have two different ways I chop my apples. I either use a knife and quarter them into the bucket, or I use one of those. So we have the grinder right here. I got my powerhouse. This actually came with a hand crank. My arm would get tired. We put the bucket down underneath and we just put the apples in. So this is the finished product, and already you can tell the apple juice is coming right out. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna let this sit for a couple days, macreate. I think that's how you pronounce it. About 5-gallon bucket of mash makes about a gallon of cider. I have a couple more buckets to finish up, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Well, good morning guys. It's time to press the cider. So we ground up all the apples and made our mash, and then we let it macreate. I think that's how I pronounce it, or at least how I pronounce it. I think that's how you pronounce it. And now we're gonna press cider. So this here is the EJ Wox cider press that I got, fruit press. This is the biggest one that they have, and I think it's like $89 or $90. I'll put a link down below in Amazon so you can see where you get it. I like it a lot. The things I don't like about it is a little small, and I'm starting to get into making more gallonage of cider, so I need a bigger press. But this gets by. It's a lot of fun. It comes all dismantled. You got your 2 rings and all your slats that you have to put together. So it took me about an hour to kind of do that, put it together, and then after that it was great. A couple of downsides, or a couple of things that either I'm way too tough for or just didn't hold up. It does come with a nylon washer that immediately gets pressed into oblivion. Maybe I'm putting too much pressure on it, but I want to get as much cider out of the apples as I can. And it doesn't have enough slats, so it came with these 2 original slats here. I ended up having some hardwood and even some pine at the shop that I cut into extra slats because it just doesn't press far enough. Once you get to this point with the screw, you can't go any deeper because the bar is too big. So All in all, it's a great entry-level starter press. I do recommend it for that. I recommend tipping it up a little bit, so that's just 3/4 of an inch higher on the back than the front. And for me, it allows the cider to pour out into the bucket a lot easier with no backups or anything. So we'll take the new bag, and we take that hole in the bottom, slide it right over there. And we dump it in. 5-gallon bucket right under the spout. I use a 5-gallon bucket. You'll notice as we press, based on how much cider is coming out of the press, the stream will move back and forth. So a nice big bucket at the bottom is helpful. So it's nice and full. All that oxidation and sitting in the bucket for the last 2 days will allow those juices to kind of propagate a little bit and seep out of the apples. And then I take some cross pieces. You just unscrew it. Dump the old mash out. There we have it. Pure, unadulterated Maine cider. Straight from the tree, through the press, to the bucket. Good stuff. This particular batch of cider and these cider apples produce a very thick, sweet cider. Many times we cut that with a more tart variety, but I'm interested in seeing how this ferments out. So let's go ahead and prepare this for storage. We're gonna toss it in the refrigerator. It's unpasteurized, so I like to keep it cold until we pasteurize it. This is the auto siphon, and we're gonna see more of this when we start making hard cider. But I use it to keep all the crap out of the buckets that we use to store the cider. I could pour it in, but eventually it's got to get filtered out, right? So this is a good way to start that. Any chunks that got down through or anything like that are just going to stay in the bucket. I just have these 1-gallon containers for the time being. Throw them on the ground. Take the tube down into the bucket. Take the siphon, give it a pump. Once it starts flowing, it's just going to flow into the bucket down below. Takes a little bit of time, but it keeps all the junk out. So that's pretty much the setup. Looks like we got about 2 1/4 gallons of cider, which is right on with the projections of a gallon of cider per 5-gallon buckets of mash. I want to show you something. If you're interested in apples, specifically apples in Maine, you need to have this book. Apples and the Art of Detection by John Bunker. John Bunker is undoubtedly the apple guru of the state of Maine. And he has set out to do amazing things with heirloom apples here in the state. He has the Heritage Apple Orchard where they have collected scions from all kinds of rare apples, specifically Maine apples, and saved them from extinction. Apples in the Art of Detection by John Bunker. And you know how the old saying goes, I'd really rather feel bad in Maine than feel good anywhere else. So there you go, my friends. I'll see you soon.
Ah!